Have you ever fancied a guy so much that you spontaneously vomited whenever you thought about him, got a text from him, or saw the first letter of his name anywhere? Well, yep, I have. And yep, I am aware how crazy that sounds. Trust me, I tried to work it out. I tried to work it out as quickly as possible so that I could fix it and stop it and carry on seeing him. I went to see my friends. Some were kind and listened, and some told me it was the guy's fault and he was obviously bad for me, and some told me I needed to appreciate what I had and to save my worrying for when I really had a problem. I was living in Hong Kong at the time, teaching a little and fully embedded in expat life. I took full advantage of my swollen pay packet, eating out in restaurants most nights and soaking in the humid evening air, swilling cocktails in the city's myriad of rooftop bars. I was meeting people from all over the world, enjoying flings and short-lived affairs. I loved the city's pulsating energy and had thought I would stay there forever. So the vomiting was an unwelcome shock. I was confused and more than a little alarmed. One friend, my new best friend, Cynthia, was concerned and insisted I see a counsellor. I dutifully agreed, knowing she would not leave me alone until I did. The counsellor was a trainee, and after a few sessions, let slip that she and her superior had diagnosed me with post-traumatic stress disorder. I didn't see how PTSD could apply to me, but the counsellor told me to focus on the feeling of fear, to think about it a lot, talk about it a lot, and fill in lots of worksheets about it. This definitely didn't make things any better and led to a full-blown obsessional fixation on the fear itself, making me feel really miserable, and also like I might be going a bit insane. The vomiting didn't stop. So I went to see a doctor. He told me the same thing had happened to his brother-in-law and that he had gone mad and tried to jump out of a fifth-floor window. Then he gave me some pills. This made things even worse. The retching didn't stop. In fact, it increased. And soon I was excusing myself from whatever class I was pretending to teach to throw up as quietly as I could in a nearby waste paper bin, or darting down alleyways on the walk to work to avoid projectile vomiting on passers-by on the extremely busy streets of Hong Kong. I stopped taking the pills. I tried to carry on seeing the guy and keep the anxiety or the crazy or whatever it was hidden, but the cracks were becoming longer and wider and much noisier, and things came to an undignified end when I began to retch mid-coitus, only just making it to his toilet. Bending over the bowl naked and heaving, I knew I had to leave, and so I did. I left the guy's apartment, I left Hong Kong, and I ran away, with no real plan other than to keep running until I didn't feel like retching anymore. Expat living in Hong Kong had given me an unprecedented surplus in my bank account just beckoning to be blown, so I travelled to all of the places I had ever wanted to see. Xi'an's Terracotta Army, the Tibetan North Face of Everest, the turrets of Hagia Sophia. I could tell you that I was instantly cured, that I found my path and blossomed, that the anxiety fell away, like snow falling from an angel's wings as she learns to fly again after the cold, harsh winter. Eat, pray, bath, all of that. But that wouldn't quite be true. I did feel better, for a bit, but I was haunted by the experience. And when it happened with the next guy I tried to date, and the next guy, and then again with the... You get the picture. I was even more disturbed. My intense need to work it out led to some pretty odd and often quite expensive situations. 1 year after leaving Hong Kong and several episodes of vomit later, I stood in a central London street, hovering with trepidation, outside the door of a gorgeous Georgian townhouse. I took a breath and pressed the buzzer.
Are you here for the workshop?
Yes!
Fabulous. You'll find us on the first floor. Come upstairs and make yourself comfortable. We don't bite. Well, not without consent.
Once upstairs, I found myself in a large white studio room. A group of men and women were standing in a circle. Some of the women looked incredibly glamorous, dressed in little black dresses and wearing the same bright red lipstick, which I found slightly grotesque. Some dressed more casually, I assumed were new to this kind of thing, so I took a place in the circle next to them. At the head of the circle stood an older, very striking woman dressed in flowy silk robes. She was quite mesmerising, and more than a little intimidating. She was the leader of the workshop, and it had already begun. A rather clingy-looking man stood next to a similarly clingy-looking woman and was mid-explanation.
Yeah, they were seeming happy, and so we realised that we just hadn't been making enough time for each other. You know, quality time between work and social.
Exactly. Between work and social. So we saw a demo at Yogi Fest 2016, and
yes, we saw the
You can say it.
the
Clitoral stimulation technique.
yes, the clitoral stimulation technique, and we thought it was jolly interesting, and seemed like something we could do. So here we are.
He booked it himself. For us.
Astounding. Let's take a moment to honour that. A man stepping forth and taking ownership over his own intimacy journey. Who's next?
Hello, I'm Sandra. I've met most of you already. I'm from Blackburn, and I'm here to help with the demonstration today. And I can tell you, it really works. I've completed the Explosive Desire and Orgasmic 2.0 weekend retreats, and this is my lover, Derek. He's a little bit shy, but he has promised to give it a try. Oh, I rhymed. Derek, I rhymed. Huh? Derek.
Hello. I work at the European Commission, Brussels. This is all new to me. But Sandra and I met, and here I am.
Another masculine energy propelling himself forward to expansion. Magnificent. And you are?
Hi, I'm Izzy from England. I was searching, Googling, for some help because of some issues, and I found this, and it seemed...
Sexual dysfunction?
Well, no, it's not. It's not just sex, I think, so much as maybe relationships and commitment.
Well, we can help you with that. At Orgasmic Meditation, we believe that desire is the primary force of life and should be neither repressed nor controlled, but rather harnessed in order to expand, connect, and deepen our experience of being alive in this moment. Walk around the room. Fill every space of the room with yourselves. Breathe, feel, connect. Now, if desire calls, I would like you to ask whomever you please if they would like to with you. Is a unique clitoral stimulation practice taught to our founder by a partially sighted Panjan monk in the foothills of the Himalaya in 1979.
Oh, you're not the founder?
No.
It's a franchise.
Yes. As part of today's introductory package, we will be demonstrating this technique with full instructions and an opportunity for questions. But for now, we will be practicing saying no. After all, if you can't say no, how can you say yes? Everybody, walk around the room.
We walked around the room. A very enthusiastic boy approached me with the intensity of someone who's just dropped a week's wages on a half-day workshop and wants to ensure he gets his fair share of enlightenment.
Would you like to... Izzy?
No. Okay, so I panicked a little. But after all, if you can't say no, how can you say yes, right? We continued to walk around, feeling increasingly awkward.
Would you like to with me?
I felt like I should at least look like I was making an effort.
Would you like to
Most certainly not.
Thank God. I ran as quickly as I could to the back of the room where lots of small dishes were laid out, mainly pulses, but I began filling my plate anyway. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the enthusiastic boy heading straight for me.
Thanks for saying no. I really appreciate your authenticity.
We had
Do you live in London? If that's not too personal to ask.
Oh, no, that's fine. Standard stranger question. I don't. I used to. Then I lived in Asia. Then I left, travelled around, and now I'm here. Just for a bit.
Wow! Asia? Incredible.
Have you been?
No, but I travel a lot too. See?
He rolled up his sleeve to show me a startlingly large "Not all who wander are lost" tattoo covering his entire forearm.
I'm a philanthropist. I go where I'm needed. I just got back from Uganda and now I'm shaving my head. Charity. Shave the world.
Bringing attention back together.
I scoffed down the last of the beans and quickly joined the group who were gathered around a table. Sandra, the helper, was lying on the table, semi-supine and naked from the waist down, presumably preparing to help. The mesmerising leader of the workshop addressed us from the head of the table.
Remember, consent is everything. Start by asking, would you like to Would you like to
Yes!
The glamorous men and women clapped. Derek, on the other hand, looked mortified.
Okay. Now, the stroker starts by taking their gloved hand and stroking 5 times on the upper left quadrant of the clitoris. Remember that pleasure may come, as pleasure does, but it is increased awareness and connective resonance between stroker and strokee that is sought, if anything is to be sought at all. Observations should be value neutral, but they should be made. This is to ensure that the woman begins to understand that her worth is in no way linked to appearance, and as such, words such as beautiful, pretty, lovely, etc., should be omitted completely, so you may speak factually. Vaginal secretion. Continue to stroke in a circular motion now for a maximum of 15 strokes. Minora thickening. Strokes should be firmer now and at a livelier pace. Labia reddening.
The enthusiastic boy I was speaking to earlier was now looking slightly pale and much less enthusiastic.
This is where the technique comes into its own. 5 strokes up, 6.5 strokes down. Medium pressure throughout, grounding technique with the palm of the hand, and maximum clitoral engorgement. Five-minute restorative healing.
Nobody moved.
Toilet break.
The members of the glamorous team set themselves up behind a long table with contracts and payment machines spread out in front of them. The clingy couple touched each other intermittently while they filled in a sign-up form under the watchful gaze of the still quite mesmerising leader, who was oozing smugness after the success of her demonstration. The enthusiastic boy hovered in the background, credit card and completed form in hand. I went to the back of the room and made myself a herbal tea. It didn't take long for the mesmerising leader to circle and approach.
So, Izzy, what do you think?
I think it's very interesting. Intimacy can definitely be difficult in today's world, and I suppose...
And will you be signing up?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm just back in London briefly, and I don't really know where I'll be next.
Do you often inhibit yourself from spending money on your essential development?
No, it's not that. I just don't really have an income right now, and this morning was already quite expensive. She paused, holding an intense amount of eye contact. It was excruciating. I almost caved, but remembered being taught the same tactic when I had worked selling chiropractic care in a health food shop. Commission only. Keep quiet, don't break eye contact, and eventually the customer will crack. I didn't crack, but I did say, I'm thinking of moving to Spain, so I don't know where I'll be.
Well, when you're ready to truly take responsibility for your path and step into your power, we'll be here. But the discount's only available today.
She floated away without a backwards glance. I swallowed hard and headed for the door. I needed a break from the room, which now seemed blindingly bright, and the people in it. In the stairwell, I ran into Sandra and Derek. Derek was looking disgruntled, to say the least.
£500 each, Sandra? No, it's bloody ridiculous. Do yourself a favour, young lady, and get out now. It's a con. A bloody expensive con.
I watched as Derek exited down the stairs. A moment later, the front door slammed behind him. In the bathroom, Sandra was fixing her makeup. A box of tissues with the Orgasmic Meditation logo and a bowl of bright red lipstick sat on the shelf next to her.
Oh, I just want somebody to...
Do things with?
Yes. Do things with. Experience life. Share life. Feel life. The men my age, most of them, they're half dead. They worked hard, I'm sure. They did what was required of them, the families, the wives, the divorces, but nothing more. And now they're half dead. They don't want to do anything. And such tiny minds. Oh. But I am not dead. And you are not dead.
I stared at myself in the mirror, holding the red lipstick Sandra had thrust at me on her way out. I put it on slowly, then wiped it off. I didn't like how it looked.
KSiCK by Erin McHugh, directed by Hannah Berrigan. In episode 1, Izzy was played by Sophie Trott, the mesmerising leader by Rachel Pickup, Sandra by Nina Anwar, Derek by Nigel Betts, the enthusiastic boy by Paddy Duff, and the clingy couple by Anna Anderson and Nicholas Atkinson. Full details of all the episodes plus more information about the show can be found at our website at theprosceniumonlinetheatre.com. If you've liked what you heard, please do share the episode. It's the best way to help us grow our audience and make more shows. Thanks for listening.